Good morning, everyone. Today is the day that we are going to London. We're all packed, ready to go, as you saw in the last video. But today I just want to show you the breakdown and analysis of all the technical things that went into this trip. And it's not just, oh, let's fly out there and, walk around and we'll go here, we'll go there, we didn't really want that aspect. We like somewhat of a schedule, and it's okay to stick by a schedule sometimes. I guess 9-to-5 jobs and stuff these days are just looked so down upon, and that you have to be an entrepreneur and stuff like that. That's a whole nother conversation. But today is just to show you how this trip was actually planned and what went into it on the computer technical side of things.
Main Excel sheet tracking all the costs for hotels, hostels, Airbnbs, excursions, etc. But this is just tracking all the costs. So in this first column, we have just the full days we're going to be there. So in Brussels, for example, we're going to be there on the 19th and the 18th, but on a hotel website it's going to be 18th to the 20th. Or for example, again for Paris, we're going to be there on the 15th and 16th, but we have to book it for the 15th to the 17th. So there's just a slight difference there, just to make sure you know the full days you're going to be able to spend there and when you're actually going to check out. Also some other information: is there going to be breakfast? Are there little notes that we want to talk about? Are there things we're going to have to buy when we get there, being in gray, just to plan further ahead? Or when we get to Switzerland, here are the different gondolas that we're going to have to buy, or the just different excursions. So here is the already paid section. The blue is me, Sophia is pink, and this is what has already been paid. And the final amount, if it says same, then it was already paid for in full. Don't worry about it anymore. So, but there are some times where you have to pay Hostel World a small fee, and then you have to pay the hotel when you get there. Or when you book directly through a website, sometimes, like directly through the hotel's website, sometimes you need to pay almost the full amount and then a tiny bit when you get there. And it's going to be a little weird if they say, oh yeah, you owe us 36 cents when we get there, but that's just what was showing up on their system. So that's what I'm going with. Here's another example of that, paying a small amount when you get there. So then here is just what the information about what it is. So hostel, 26 people. That's going to be an experience. Hostel, 10 people. Hotel. Hostel, private room. So just everything you kind of need to know. Apartment. Everything you need to know as far as what your night is going to be looking like. And then the days, this is just the days in each city, the night you're spending there. So this is just taking into account if we are spending $385 in London to stay at the Walrus Hostel and Bar, you would divide that by 7, and we booked that on booking.com, for example, and that is $55 per night. And we are going for under $60 a night for 2 people. So that is well within our budget. That's all good. That helps our average out. So that is kind of what everything is doing. This, again, is just taking the total amount, or in this case, if the total amount is 207, then 17 plus 207 divided by 4 would get you 51.96. So when there's 2 amounts, you would just add them up and then divide it by the number of days. So here are just some more notes just on the place or what you're going to have to do to book it and stuff. That's just kind of for the excursions. And then down here, the total expense for flights. So for 2 people to London was, I believe, 380, and then 2 people from Barcelona to New York was, I think, 500 something. So in total, under $1,000 for 2 people to London, and then 2 people from Barcelona back to the States. So that's great. And then $5,600 total for accommodations that where we're going to be sleeping every night, and dividing that by the 97 days, we get the average cost per night for 2 people. So $58 per night. That's great to see. Our goal was under 60. We got it. Average cost per person nightly is only $29. So it costs me $29 to go to bed in these amazing European and UK cities. That's a great number to see, because if we keep this extremely low, then we're able to spend a lot more on museums or food, or we just don't really care that much about where we're sleeping, because we're not going to be there for much anyway. And so what if you have to choose the cheaper option, being a hostel, which we've never stayed at in our lives before, but it'll be a great opportunity to meet new people. So here are the total costs for what it looks like so far, and the total days in Europe, and the total days overall, including London. This is what everything looks like, and hopefully I did a good explanation on this. Let's get into the next thing. This is the days in each country and each city. So this should be pretty easy to understand, but this was just the start of everything. Now, you can see how most of it's yellow, because we would change everything to yellow as the place was fully booked. The hotel was booked, whatever. When it was booked, we would change it to yellow and move the number over to the left, so you know, do not touch that number, because it was already booked, so you can't do anything about it. That's how many days you're staying there. But obviously, when most people are going to be backpacking, they're just going to say, okay, I'm going to book a one-way flight. I'm going to go to Paris for 2 weeks. I'm going to go to Amsterdam for a week. I'm going to go to Berlin for a few days. Like, we want to just plan out the most optimized, efficient, best taste of Europe trip ever. We've never traveled outside of the country. Hopefully we are some smart individuals, and we wanted to just take advantage of this backpacking opportunity to do as much as we can. So that way we know in the future, hey, where would we want to go again? Did we like this place? So our first step of planning this whole trip was looking up every individual country, and then maybe taking the top 15 to 20 cities and going through each one, rating it out of 10, and then thinking about how many days we'd want to stay there. So, for example, like, France was probably down to here originally. You can see some places were taken out. You can see, some places were taken out, and this doesn't reflect fully, because this was kind of in the middle stages, or middle to beginning stages of this trip, but mainly this is going to be accurate. So for example, Prague is going to be 6 days. So in the Czech Republic, it's going to be 6 days total. So this 6-day total is going into the 89-day total that we saw in the last example. And this says 89 days, even though we will be on our trip for 97, because the UK does not count for the 90-day Schengen visa. And you can kind of just make your own assumptions here. This is just to show you the cities that we chose out of the countries that we wanted to go to and that we will be passing through. So you can just make your own assumptions or figure out where you would want to go, but trust me, we did so much research, and this is just a great guide to point you in the right direction as far as where you should go if you're considering a certain country. Obviously, the amount of days you want to be there, kind of like, for example, in Austria, Hallstatt is the picture postcard place you want to go to, but it's a small city. I mean, do you really want to be staring at it for 4 days? Like, if you can walk through it in an hour, that's a place you want to go, but you shouldn't really go for more than a day, day and a half. So that's what we're doing. And then we'll be taking a half day to the place right next to it. So even though there are very notable places on here that we want to stay longer, we just have to stick to the script, stick to the itinerary, make it efficient, and only stay there for a minimal amount of time. and spend, more days where we could walk around at a larger city. It's all about just seeing the most for this trip. And here you can see um, a good overview of the places that we chose.
This is all that I have left to pack currently. I think I might not be able to take everything. Do I really need the creatine in the bag? Do I need the dude wipes? I don't know. I've never done this before. Pretty big backpack. It's carrying both of the heavy coats right now, so I'm just trying to stretch it out so it gets used to just having a ton of stuff in it and maybe being able to fit even more. I don't know. But here is everything, and we are getting ready to leave.
Is insane. Let me show you all that we've done. People might think we're crazy. Dude, you're planning out every single city, every single country, down to the day, down to the hour. But there's a lot of money going into this trip. We don't know when we're going to be able to go back to all these places. So it's important that we go everywhere we want, we maximize every day, and even if we don't follow the script, there are some fun things to follow and consider. We don't want to just be aimlessly walking around and not knowing where the train station is and not knowing where our hostel is. Everything is just hopefully perfect to show when you could get into a new city very frantically, and you're like, oh, what do I even do here? So this just helps you with all those questions. So this is what I would put into chat. So any AI model, DeepSeek is trying to steal my information, so I did not end up using it. But this is just a template that I would put into ChatGPT. I would put the place, the days staying, number of city, and I would just say, help me plan it, and then give me a start of what to do, and just copy and paste this every single time into a different chat, or if it's doing well, into the same chat. But here I would copy and paste some Get Your Guide walking tours that you had to pay for, but you can just copy the itinerary and put in. So I would put in 4 different walking tours that I found on the city that you have to pay for, but you can at least just copy and paste for free. And then the map. So if you type in map of blank Wanderlog, it gives you a ton of stuff. I think it's the top 20 attractions to do. Put that in there too, as far as putting the Get Your Guide walking tours in there. And put this into ChatGPT with all the different cities and the dates, and that will give you a good start. But there'll be a lot of faults. It can really only handle one day at a time, so it can take a while. It took me a while to develop a template for this, and then there's going to be different templates. This is a slightly different version of who we are, what we want. There's a lot of writing going into all of this, and then just different templates for different things. And then it took a lot to narrow everything down and to make it perfect, but let's get into a example of an itinerary. So the goals for the days, the hotel, where are you staying, when you're getting into the city, and then when you'll be departing that morning. So for example, in London, these are some things that we're going to want to see on our first day in Oxford. So I chose, hey, I want to see all the Harry Potter filming locations. So here are just all the different things you can do. Challenges, find this, find that. So we just put in a lot of scavenger hunts, and also some of them have, like hard challenges. This is mainly just like finding stuff, but there should be, I believe it's normally always at the end, but like the bonus challenges, it's not just find. It can be, just whatever, sneak into a VIP rooftop bar for a free view. Like, are we doing that? Is that a dumb challenge? I don't know, but at least we have it, and maybe like we can, it's just something. It's kind of like King of the Road, the skate show. It's just, you have challenges, and maybe we'll follow them, and maybe we'll just come up with our own. Like, obviously ChatGPT can be a little over exaggerated and kind of cheesy with their wording, but we have just stuff to do every day. The walking, 15 miles. Good luck on that day. But there's just everything is planned out, from what to do, from how long it takes from place to place, from what to look for, other activities, how long to spend there, or how long it'll take maybe to walk. It's just great. There's notes for everything. Here are the fun challenges, everything you need to know, where your hotel is, the budget, what to look for. Everything is planned. And again, let's say it's, we wake up at 1 p.m. We don't have to follow it, but it's there. Again, we're spending a lot of money. We want to make sure we know what to do. So here is just an example of every single place. Sometimes, days at a time. Like this is 20 pages, for example. It was not easy at all. But like this, for example, was 30 pages. This trip took a long time. Days and days and days just on the computer. But at least we have it. We know what to look for. We have some fun things to do. And this is kind of the structure of our itinerary on a day-to-day basis. Hopefully, this gives you some ideas and helps you maybe rethink your next trip.
To close out this video, I just want to say I hope this helped you plan your trip and gives you some different ideas on how you can utilize different resources just to help optimize your trip. Like most people I don't want to say most people, but a lot of people just go to, let's say, Florida, for example, and say, oh, let's go to Miami, and then just walk around, whatever. So you might want to develop a walking route. You can use AI nowadays to do most of the work for you. Just create a template, tell it what to do, and repeat that over and over for the different places, and you can get some great results. It's pretty important to have efficient walking routes and not, walk all over the place. And if it took me here and then there, and then way back there and then way over here, like you want to hone down on the optimization aspect to where you're walking in a somewhat well planned out path and you have things to do and you have these little challenges. I thought it was a pretty creative way to plan this trip, and hopefully everything goes well. Hopefully this gives you some motivation to plan your next trip and realize that it can be done at a low cost, lower than if I were just to go to school, of course. I think around $12,000 lower than if I were just to go straight full tuition, main campus, etc. And even the rent, if it's under $1,000 per month to travel per person, that's probably lower than every other rent that you could find anywhere. So this trip can be done at a relatively low cost and very efficiently with the itinerary. So hopefully I gave you some great ideas. Can't wait to see you in the next video.